Heroine Anthem 02, Scalescars Oath, is officially ready to launch onto the PlayStation and Xbox consoles in 2024 after we got the official confirmation that a ratings board's listing out in Taiwan and then soon after in certain countries in Europe became available. So not only do we have direct confirmation that this currently PC only and Steam only title is coming to both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles, but there's also certain rumors that it might be making its way onto the Nintendo Switch at the back end of 2024. So today, not only did I want to bring a little bit of attention to this game, since it's a really interesting title, a side-scrolling action RPG that is certainly want players to be able to be fully aware of, but more importantly enough, it is one of those games that I think did extremely well on PC for many good reasons, which I want to try to showcase today. And once it releases on consoles, hopefully of course with proper performance, then we are going to be able to have in our hands a relatively good and fun side-scrolling action RPG. If you haven't necessarily heard about Heroine Anthem 02, Scalescars Oath, no one would really blame you. This is a game from Winking Studios and Wind Thunder Studios, who basically work with Skywalker, Korean studio, and they basically got this game out on PC. I believe it was around 2022, February of 2022 when it came out on PC. And it's essentially mixing 2D, real-time 2D with 3D side-scrolling story-based experiences where you're basically in full control of a character, making your way throughout the maps. The reason why I found this game really interesting is the gameplay feels fast and frenetic, and it is one of those games that I always kind of thought would fit perfectly on the Switch. And now with these rating boost listings for both PlayStation and Xbox, and now rumors of a Nintendo Switch being worked on, a Nintendo Switch build being worked on, it's something that is getting a lot of players excited. The game's producers have made a lot of kind of promises originally when the game was coming out to PC. They basically did get something ridiculous like 400,000 worth of dialogue, like 500 different CG cutscenes, 300 different stages, 500 different character interactions. Like, they spent a lot of time trying to get the story aspects of this game to work, because one of the very first things that they actually got very early on in the very early access was the fact that the combat is really fun. But before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit about the story, where the world was one freed from chaos. The twin virgin saints started a circle of 7 doomsday monsters that they were essentially being attacked for, where their lands were flooded by the 6th doom day. After the descendants of the Savior received the blessing of the gods, they resurrected under their newborn tree of life, establishing the royal city of Bazelgeuse, and basically they were able to grow there without any sort of peril, being protected by the gods. The people of this town essentially must be able to find the answers for whenever Judgment Day comes. And for a good time, that was pretty much exactly what the characters of the game were pretty much trying to live to, until some basically things went out of the way. God was revived. They're not necessarily having a great time, and it's up to you to be able to make your way into pretty much the demon realm and be able to save people exactly as you would have expected in a side-scrolling action RPG. Some of the key features that you should be expecting here is the above mentioned storytelling, where they just have plenty of cutscenes, different animations for different characters who are constantly meeting each other in a world kind of like a united merged world that you're constantly always exploring. You're also going to be expected to master a couple of unique and different skills. As characters level up, players have a range of skills to unlock, including dodge, parry, triple jump, jump attacks, and much more. With desired combinations, players can have their own combat styles due to the combat companions. Combat companion system in Heroine Anthem 02 is basically where you level up as the story progresses, and then you unlock more skills to activate them during combat. The companions also are powered up, and they become way more supportive than you would have ever imagined if you don't necessarily team up with them. Puzzle solving is something that you're also going to be able to see, and Different Metroidvanias have had different levels of puzzle solving, so this one isn't necessarily going to be all that different in that regard. But one of the new interesting twists here is that you have crafting and cooking systems. Now, of course, crafting and cooking systems have become a staple of RPGs now for quite a while, but for you to be able to have both of these tenets being supported is certainly nice to see. You also have equipable passives skills that are going to be able to not only make your armors and weapons become a little bit more powerful, but also the passives like crafting and cooking should be able to become more powerful as well if you equip certain specific equipments to be able to boost them as well. On top of that, as you explore through the game's world, you'll be seeing plenty of special events. These are kind of different situations and different scenarios thrusted upon the characters and the protagonists as well via different conversations, where sometimes you're making a different choice than what you typically would have expected the game to provide for you, but ultimately it is for you to be able to craft your very own tell. Expedition systems are also being introduced, where you are asked to search out a very specific area and basically pick up all the goodies there. Now, be mindful that there are dangerous travel situations as well, whenever you might be encountered by enemies, you might be encountered by rogue agents or anything along those lines. So it's up to you to be able to make sure that you keep your team alive, but also at the same time be able to collect all of the proper rewards. The last thing that they mention here as well is an Easter egg quest line and multiple options that are kind of like becoming available through the late game. Now this is something that I'm not necessarily sure if it's only part of the PC version as of right now, or these are current changes that they're going to be bringing over to consoles, but they do specifically mention the addition of Easter eggs in different quest lines becoming available. Now, PlayStation players and Xbox players should be able to know that keyboard support is certainly available. They don't mention mouse, interestingly enough, but they do mention that keyboard support will be available for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X as well, which is really interesting. But they don't make any mentions of that when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. Of course, they're not revealing that the Switch port is going to be being worked on or anything like that, but since it is something that we have seen already being mentioned, hopefully all of these I guess changes are going to be making their way onto the Nintendo Switch version as well. But that's kind of like all the information that I have for you guys regarding Heroine Anthem 02 Scalescars Oath, which we now know is set to release onto PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X later in 2024. We're expecting somewhere around the spring and later into the fall, hopefully onto the Nintendo Switch. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.